Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew with me, Graham Hughes. It is Wednesday, the 9th of April, 2025. So we've got less than a few weeks before America falls to tyranny, by the looks of things. I'm going to say this a lot in this episode. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I am wrong. But before we get into all that, I'm going to say hello to Witchy Goth. I'm going to say hello to Captain and Commander. I'm also going to say hello to Scott and Kate Smith and Simon Smith. Any relation? We're also going to say hello to Colin Baker and Diz and Sarah Davis and Audrey White and others who are populating our chat here, the socialites of the chat, and they're the people who bring this whole thing together. Otherwise, it's just me ranting at a wall. If you would like to join our friends in the chat here, all you need to do, hit the subscribe button, make some new friends. Just don't be a troll. It's the only thing we ask. Don't be a troll. Okay, so, the market's opened down. Because all of these tariffs kicked in last night. And 104% tariff on China. Not great. The FTSE opened down around 2.5%. That might change now. But the CAC in France was down 2.3% about an hour ago. The DAX in Germany was down 2.1%. And the Nikkei fell 4.3%. The Taiwan TAIEX fell 6.2%, and the Hang Seng is down 1.5%. The only major index holding steady is the Shanghai Composite in China, which is holding steady at plus 0.2. Interesting that it's China, the one country that's really standing up against these tariffs and telling Trump in no uncertain terms to bugger off. Commander, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's very kind of you. Maybe we'll set a super chat, all the colours, 30 minutes. I'll say thank you. Hey. There you go. That's what I'll do. I can't do a strip. I can't. It's too early in the morning. No one wants to see that anyway. Dow futures, June strikes are hovering flat at the moment. Wonder what will happen later. Well, here we go. Let's talk about what might happen later. So Trump has imposed already tariffs on 60 plus countries. These went into effect at 12:01 last night, American time, East Coast time, I think. They've alienated all of their allies: Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Canada, the EU, and it's caused it's provoked some tit for tat retaliation, and countries are scrambling now to do trade deals. Just not with America. You know, they're trying to do trade deals with each other. Quickly, put the trade deals in to make up to the fact that we can't sell stuff to America anymore. They've put up barriers to free trade, you know, like Britain did with Brexit. America has Brexited. This has divided the West globally, strengthening ties between China and Russia, Iran, and the global South. It has unleashed chaos on US domestic markets with major companies like Apple, Nike, Samsung, etc. facing existential export challenges. I know Samsung are South Korean, but they have bases in America. Obviously, they sell their goods, merchandise in America, and it's a big part of their market, and that's going to disappear overnight, pretty much. Umka, thank you very much for the €2 super chat. Woo! We love getting euros on this show. As Stephen Colbert put it, bye. Well, yes, you're not going to be able to buy much stuff. Well, I mean, the rich people who are instigating all this, the tyrant billionaires, they're not going to be bothered by all this. You know, they don't pay tax on their super yachts anyway. They just move it around different ports around the world, so they never have to pay anything on their super yacht that they've spent $5 million on. You know. So Trump's actions are not random. He has installed loyalists in the Department of Justice, in the DHS, in the Pentagon. He's rolled back oversight powers. He has resurrected and expanded Project 2025. He's floated terms like militia assistance, reciprocal justice, and sovereign accountability. He has already suggested removing term limits and delaying elections until, in his words, we are safe again. So this is Alarm bells for anyone who is in the States at the moment. Also, alarm bells. The Supreme Court yesterday declared that the fact that the ICE they went around taking randoms off the street who looked El Salvadorian and taking them to a El Salvadorian prison where they got their heads shaved. Any students of history will know the implications of that. They had their heads shaved, put in a massive cage where there's nowhere to sleep, and most people have to sleep on the floor. And the Supreme Court said, yep, that's cool. A lower judge said, hey, you need to get these people back. They haven't committed any crime. There needs to be a due process, right? It's in the Constitution, due process. The constitutionalists are going, but the Constitution will come and save us. Yeah, it says in the Constitution, due process. These people have been denied their due process. Most of them are not criminals in any way, shape or form. They have no criminal record whatsoever. We know of at least one person who was just a family man living in America legally who was snatched off the streets and taken to El Salvador, a country that he had fled from many years earlier. Now he's in a jail there. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, it's all good, which is something I warned about ages ago. As soon as Trump won, I was like, this is it. You know, he's got the Supreme Court. He's got Congress on side. They're going to let him do whatever he wants, and no one's going to stop him. So, in Project 2025, it was recommended that Trump would, on day one, he would bring in what's called the Insurrection Act. This is an act that dates back to 1807, I think. Someone can correct me in the chat if you feel like doing so. And what it says is that he is allowed to put militia on the streets, and he is allowed to, deputize, maybe, I don't know, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, or the far right-wing groups to work with the police to destroy any dissent. This is the recommendation that Trump was given on day one, but he didn't do it on day one because he needed to put his people into place. He needed to make sure that the DOJ was stacked with loyalists. He needs to make sure the Pentagon was stacked with loyalists, the FBI, the CIA, loyalists. He needs to make sure that law firms in America were all on side. They'd all been cowed. He needs to make sure that social media firms had all been cowed. He needs to make sure that all the big newspapers had all been cowed and bowing down to grovel at this disgusting orange fascist blob's feet, and basically giving him money for his inauguration fund or whatever the fuck it was called. He had an indoor party in a public building, but he needed millions for that. Getting anointed as King of America, fascist King of America. Another super chat's come in for £2. Thank you very much to UK Medsy. Donald Flump is beginning to look tired and unwell. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. We can hope that he's going to keel over at some point, but unless that happens, America is in some real deep shit. Protests are going to get worse over the next few weeks, and they have been anticipated by Trump, possibly desired by Trump, because he wants an excuse to activate the Insurrection Act after 3 months. He has had a team looking at this to decide to make a report on invoking the Insurrection Act, the legal basis for deploying the military domestically. False flag provocations may well be used to justify martial law. So you imagine these massive protests that they had over the weekend all over America. You only need a few people in each one, from the Proud Boys, from the Oath Keepers, from people who are working for Trump, people who are literally working for the deep state, to cause some trouble, murder a police officer, start a riot, whatever. And Trump can use that as justification for bringing in the Insurrection Act, because these protests are happening all over America. That would lead to this excuse to use the Proud Boys, use these terrorists, these domestic terrorists, they are the SS of America, being brought in to police the place with the willful cooperation of the police in America, who have become overwhelmingly militarized in the last few decades. I mean, they go around in fucking tanks now in America, the police, and they shoot people willy-nilly. The police in America kill twice as many people. The police kill twice as many people each year in America as murderers in the UK kill. murderers. All the murderers in England and Wales put together is half of how many people the police in America kill. So yeah, they're not going to be on the right side of history. They never have been. I don't think they ever will be. You'll see a targeting of activists, journalists, Democrats, and as I've been saying for a long time now, there ain't going to be any midterms. Stop talking about the midterms. You make yourself sound daft. They're not going to have any midterms. They're going to look at what happened in the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin and go, oh yeah, well, we can put millions and millions of dollars into this race in buttfuck nowhere that no one cares about and still lose. Oh shit, we're never going to win an election again. Not least after the economic turmoil that America's going to be going through for the next few months, maybe years, maybe decades. They're not going to have an election. He's going to suspend the midterms, and there's going to be a huge lockdown of dissent, and all the stuff that you see on X, all the stuff that you see on Facebook, all the stuff you see on these compromised platforms, where the leaders of these platforms, the oligarchs who run them, they're all kowtowed down to Donald Trump. So all of the information you'll get on it is disinformation. In fact, this channel and other British channels like this, Canadian channels, they might be your only source of what's really going on. And I'd hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, because I hate conspiracy theorists. And I go, you need to know what's really going on. But people who are prepared to look at actually what's happening, read between the lines and broadcast that, amplify voices from the left, voices of dissent in America, because they will be suppressed in America. And all of these platforms, perhaps including this one, are American owned. And so we might have to find ourselves new platforms, my friends. We might have to find new places to hang out. And to be honest with you, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this if I can't do this on YouTube. You get no money for doing this on Facebook. You get no money for doing this on TikTok. Like, there's no money in it whatsoever. At least on here, I can get super chats from the likes of Umka. Thank you very much for the €5 super chat. In Nazi Germany, those who were against Hitler and Nazis were called national traitors, nation traitors. Waiting when Trump will announce this in the USA. I think, to be honest with you, Umka, I think he already has. I think he's already talked about traitors and dissenters. So April 20th is going to be when this report comes out. This is from Trump's advisors, and it's going to be a report on invoking the Insurrection Act, the legal basis for deploying the military domestically. Insiders suggest Trump will execute an executive order or issue an executive order immediately if he receives the green light, and the justification is likely to be border security, woke terror. He just signed an act against woke energy. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not making this up. Woke energy. They called solar panels and wind turbines woke energy. Or mass civil unrest. So that's the big one, because there's going to be more unrest. So this is why he's tanking the markets now. In the run-up to doing this, he's making it so that everyone's turning against him. Even his allies are turning against him. He's weeding them all out to the point where he can go, okay, right, you're not on my side. I've identified you all. We were filming at all these events, all these protests that people have gone to. It's one of the reasons why you're not seeing black people, you're not seeing trans people, gay people out on the streets, because they sense this. They know what's happening. They know what's coming. And they don't want to be used as an excuse for him to instigate this Insurrection Act. Now, normally, under normal circumstances, Congress would step in and stop this. The Supreme Court would step in and stop this, but Congress has been neutered and the SCOTUS has been compromised. The people in the 6 High Court judges in SCOTUS are fucking scumbags. I mean, these are people who wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. These are the most disgusting, raggedy little motherfuckers the world has ever seen, apart from Trump himself and his little fucking cadre of cockheads who call themselves his cabinet. These people are fucking evil. You need to understand, like, this isn't business as usual. And it's really winding me up that people are going, oh, it's just business as usual, Greg. It's all right. The Constitution will save the fucking day. And I keep saying the Constitution hasn't changed. But what has changed is whether it's federally okay to execute someone. That was okay until the 70s. And then there was a little brief window of about 10, 15 years where it wasn't okay because it was seen as a cruel or unusual punishment. Those words weren't put newly into the Constitution. They were already there. They just chose to interpret them in a different way. In the same way that in 1987, I think it was, they decided again, oh, well, actually, no, I don't think it's a cruel or unusual punishment because, Saudi Arabia does it. Russia does it. It must be okay. Yeah, same thing with abortion. Abortion was illegal in many states, and then they decided, actually, I don't think it should be illegal in every state. I think that this is a human right, and let's have a look that under privacy laws that in the Constitution. They said, oh, actually, because of a woman's right to privacy, the state can't do anything about a medical procedure between her and a doctor. And that was okay for 50 years. And then along comes Trump and he says, no, I'm going to put these dickheads in the Supreme Court. And they managed to overturn Roe versus Wade. And now the Constitution hasn't changed. The Constitution hasn't changed at all. And they say, but it's a living document, Graham. And I'm like, yeah, so you can safely ignore it. You can come up with any kind of crackpot justification you like. And you can ignore it, as Scrotus does time and time and time again. Another one, gay marriage. I mean, that used to be illegal, right? And then they looked at the Constitution, the Supreme Court looked at the Constitution and said, actually, we should make this legal everywhere because, these marriages should be recognised under the Constitution. Constitution hasn't changed. Supreme Court, I guarantee, by the end of this year, they are going to withdraw that part of the bill of the Constitution effectively by reinterpreting it to say that being gay is not something that you can get married with. You can't get married with gayness. You can get married with self-loathing, but not gayness. No, not gayness. Anyway, but and then there's loads of fucking things going through the Supreme Court at the moment where they're just going, oh, we're going to interpret this differently. And if you want an older example of this happening, thou shalt not kill. What is that, the 7th commandment? I love the way he got through like 6 other ones before getting there. Don't you be worshipping those false idols, knobheads. Yeah. Okay, maybe don't kill each other. Go on, you twisted me arm. Right, okay, so thou shalt not kill. That's what it says in the Bible. It says it twice because there's 2 sets of 10 commandments in the Bible for some reason. It's almost as though it's a bunch of scraps of documents just put together by some lunatic. But anyway, I digress. It says thou shalt not kill. Has a Christian ever used that as a reason not to kill? Not really, no. Well, I mean, maybe some conscientious objectors during a war, but the people in charge, the Pope? No, just not happened. All these Christian countries around the world with a head of state who's also the head of the church, have they ever looked at the 10 Commandments and gone, maybe we shouldn't kill anyone? Nope. America has literally the death penalty. It has the 10 Commandments. They want it in every single classroom in the country. And they have the death penalty in direct violation of one of the 10 Commandments. Wowzers, trousers. And by the way, Jesus there said nothing about being trans. He said nothing about being gay. It didn't seem to bother him. It wasn't a thing that he went on and on about. Do you know what he said 3 times, though? Adultery is bad. Adultery is a bad thing. You shouldn't be an adulterer. That's what he said. And look, the people's relationships are their relationships, and they live their life as they live their life. And I'm not one to judge. I'm not one to say, look, if it works for you, it works for you. Whatever, right? The point is that if you're going to pretend to be a Christian country, if you're going to pretend that you believe in all this shit, right? You've got to look at what Jesus said and go, hang on. he said that adultery is really bad. He mentions it 3 times in the Bible. That must be really bad. That's like 3 times as bad as anything else he mentions, right? And yet Trump is a man who cheated on his pregnant wife with a porn star. Proven in a court of law. Proven to have cheated on his wife in a court of law. Proven to have raped a woman in a court of law. The punishment for rape should be being put to death, I think, according to, I don't know, Leviticus or Deuteronomy or something. Anyway, someone just got their tea. Oh, that's good. I'm a bit jealous. I've got some here. I will have that. Okay, so justification, like I say, border security, woke terrorists, civil unrest. Historical precedent here, Germany 1933, Chile in 1973 under Pinochet, and Turkey under Erdogan in 2016. This move would grant unprecedented powers, martial law, suspension of elections, and indefinite detention without due process. So what the Scrotus did yesterday for Donald Trump, gave him an extra gift. They said, you don't have to worry about due process anymore. Here you go, matey. And he went, great, thanks for that. But it's only temporary. It's only temporary. I think in America, the income tax was only temporary during World War One. It's funny how these temporary measures have a way of becoming permanent, isn't it? So what happens after that? What I've said since the beginning of this, mass arrests of opposition figures. I was saying that these members of the opposition shouldn't go to Trump's inauguration because I assumed that he was going to pull out the Insurrection Act on day one. But actually, I think the people advising Trump, not the people that you see on the TV. Okay, these are not the weirdos and knobheads in his cabinet. These are the people who are, Heritage Foundation, Project 2025. They've been working on this project for 50 years. And I hate to say they know what they're doing, but they know what they're doing. And it really doesn't help when you have the sort of people going, oh, no, it won't happen. It won't happen. La, 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 la. Do you know what? I'd rather raise the alarm and be wrong than not say anything and then go, oh. So, yeah, I thought he was going to do it on Insurrection Day. I thought he was going to do it on Inauguration Day. But no, he waited 3 months, and that was for a few reasons, a few of which I've already mentioned. And so what he's going to do is he's got all these people on his list. So people like Liz Cheney, AOC, Bernie Sanders, they will be arrested without charge. They'll probably be taken to a detention camp. They have built these detention camps now over the last few months. They've got places that they can send them to, El Salvador, Guantanamo Bay. They have places already set up to send these political dissidents to. It's very, very, very likely that he will do this. And this is the important thing. There's no one to stop him from doing this. You might think that this is a bit fanciful and a bit like, oh, Graham, you've got a bit too far here. Come on. He's not really going to do that. But all I can say to that is, look at January the 6th. Look at what this man is prepared to do to cling on to power. 9 people died as a result of January the 6th. 150 police officers were injured. That was just a test run. That was just to see what happened. And he fucking got away with it. Because all his money prick mates who have $1 billion, but they're not happy. They're not happy with $1 billion. Like, how can you not be happy with $1 billion? You got to have something deeply, deeply wrong with your soul. If you can have $1 billion and you can't be just like, I'm just going to enjoy my life. I'm going to get on a yacht. I'm just going to sail the world. I'm going to have parties on the beach. I'm going to do all this fun stuff. No, you got these horrible little gruesome golems, hunched over their phone, on Twitter at 3 a.m, going, I don't like asexual people. Yeah, the asexuals. Come on, let's everyone have a go at the asexuals. All the problems in life caused by those people who are asexual. How dare they exist? How dare they literally exist? That's what J.K. Rowling, the writer of Harry Potter, the richest author in the fucking world, said at the weekend. How dare they exist? What a shitbag. What a rancid excuse for a human being. I've said this before and I will say it again. 15 years ago, if J.K. Rowling had popped their clogs, she would have got a fucking state funeral. People would have been throwing flowers in front of the fucking hearse like fucking Princess Diana. People all over the world will be dressed as wizards and witches and crying their fucking eyes out. And now, people will be glad. People will be happy. People will be like, oh, great. Ding dong, the witch is dead, eh? Whey! And their kids are going to have to fucking see that. How evil. How evil to make your kids see the joy that your demise brings the world because you've turned yourself into such a gargantuan shit with all your fucking money. All of your money. Wow. Fucking hell. It is just a time to be alive, isn't it? Isn't it? Thank you, by the way. I've got a couple of super chats coming up, but I just want to say thank you for sticking with this channel and keeping me relatively sane through all this. I hope the fact that there were other people thinking the same way we do, and we can have a chat about it still freely on the internet for now. I hope that helps. I hope it helps. If it doesn't, please turn this off, go for a walk, calm the fuck down. I don't know. I like doing this. I like just venting. I like just going, what a twat. What a knobhead. What a gobshite. I like doing this, okay? I need to vent. I need to let the pressure off because otherwise I will fucking explode with all the shit that is going down right now. So thank you for sticking with this channel. Give us a like. give us a like, everyone, if you like the rantiness. Who was it this morning before the show started saying, there'll be a rant this morning? Yeah, there'll be several. Thank you very much to Umka for the €5. That's very kind of you. In bookshops in Germany, the 1984 and Animal Farm are always on the front shelves. George Orwell tried to make us woke. Yeah. Yeah. I need to get a t-shirt that says woke as fuck, don't I? That'll be my flag if I get into Glastonbury this year. I haven't got a ticket. But if I do manage to blag my way in somehow, I'm going to have a flag that says woke as fuck. Look out for it. I might have to put a star over the U because otherwise I might get told off by the BBC. Rosie, thank you very much for the £20 super chat. Hi, Graham. I totally agree about US-owned platforms being affected at some point and sane voices being suppressed. It seems the way things are going. I think we may see channels being reported, etc. You can see it happening. Yeah, Rosie, you can. The only thing is, we were talking with Phil this morning before the show started, and he was just saying that actually a lot of the infrastructure, the servers and things for these channels and for these social media platforms in Europe are based in Europe. So just because there's a clampdown in America doesn't mean that there will necessarily be a clampdown over here. But I think that it would be a good idea to start looking at alternatives anyway. I really do. Like maybe we go back to Friends Reunited. I don't know. Should we go back to Friends Reunited? Do you know what I want? I want a version of Facebook that was like what it used to be, right? And I'm not being an old fart here going, it's not as good as it used to be. I'm talking about the fact that there's no AI, there's no adverts, you can't have people that you don't fucking know writing shite at you. You know, no, forget all that, right? Lock it down. Lock it the fuck down and just make it like a chat app. A chat app, but a little bit broader than that. So, in WhatsApp, you have different groups and stuff like that. Something along those lines where you can have your own little groups in your chat, but you can also put things publicly if you want to declare your love for someone or something. You can still do that, which you can't do on WhatsApp at the moment. You can't really declare stuff publicly. You can only declare it to people who are already got your phone number, which is one of the downfalls of WhatsApp, I believe. Because imagine like Facebook, but everyone gets your phone number. Not great. Not great. And I know phones are better now, and it comes up when your phone, someone's calling you and says possible spam. Plus, no one answers the phone anymore. Like, who answers the phone? Why would you? But yeah, that's it's something that needs to be built. Like, let's do it. We didn't need to before because Facebook did the thing we needed it to do. Twitter did the thing we needed it to do. Blue Sky does the thing that we want to do. Threads does the thing. But if these platforms turn into a thing where we're not allowed to use them anymore because we're too woke, then fuck it. We need to just copy the fucking code and rip them all off. I'm all up for this. I'm all up for becoming a pirateer. Not a pirate. Not a pirate. Private pirate. Not being a pirate, okay? I disagree with pirating. We shouldn't pirate. It's very naughty and very wrong. I don't care whether you're Long John Silver or Somali pirate. Pirating is wrong, okay? But being a privateer, we're doing this in the service of the state. For the crown. For England, James. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We've got a letter of marque from the king saying that we can indeed go and privateer on the high seas. And we can privateer as much software as we like. If it's American, not Canadian, not Mexican, not Japanese, no downloading Nintendo games, American. Fuck them. Katrina Tam, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. It's only been 3 months. What's it going to be like in a year? I'm so scared of the future now. Also seems like having too much money really screws people up, I guess. Yeah, Katrina, I'm so thankful I've got fuck all when it comes to actual money. But yeah, it is scary, but we will come out of this stronger on the other side. And we are well placed at the moment here in the UK because we don't have a bunch of wingnuts in charge, and the wingnuts can't get in charge for at least another 4 years. So I know we've got 4 years to go, and I'll talk about it in a moment, but I don't think that this Trump presidency, I mean, it won't last, but I mean, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible while it is there, but fascism always falls. Tyranny always falls. Strongman governments fall apart because people are mortal. And if no strong man is there anymore, then you have something else. Unfortunately, history teaches us time and time again, and this is what I just find so annoying. The way I was talking about this the other day, wasn't I? About how science or technology, computer games, whatever, they build on what's come before. They learn from what's come before. You don't have to remake Pong to make the new GTA. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't turn up in Rockstar North's offices and say, "Hey, have you got that? Have you got that game for us? That GTA we've been waiting for like 10, 15 years?" And they go, "Yeah, we've got it, but hang on, we've got to do Pong first. Now we've made Pong. We're going to make Pac-Man. Okay, we're going to make Pac-Man go back, and then we're going to make Jet Set Willy. Jet Set Willy, yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to have Jet Set Willy going around with a jetpack, and then you don't need to do all that again. It's already been done. We can build on what we learned from those games." You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you make a video game. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you look through a telescope or a microscope or a large hadron collider. But with history, oh my God, we're like fucking goldfish. We're like this. What happened? What happened last year? What happened? And it's like, do you not remember? Are you the guy from fucking Memento? Are you running away, wondering why you're running and who's after you and why he's got a gun? Is that what's happening with humanity? Every few years, we just literally forget the stuff that has come before. I think some people do. But some people don't want to know. Some people don't want to know at all. They want to pretend that that history was all great and magnificent and fun and funny and hilarious and red hot pokers up the bum and dead princes in the tower and Henry VIII and all his wives. And it's just fucking madness. Like, to not actually look into what it was like to live in any of these different time periods. It was fucking horrible. It was fucking horrible for most of us. I mean, it might have been all right for the aristocracy, the ones who kept their heads. But for the rest of us, it was a fucking nightmare. And every time we have these kind of strongmen leaders coming in, whether it was a king, an emperor, a prince regent, or whether it was a dictator, a Führer, a divine leader, dear leader, whoever it was, the fucking general secretary of the fucking USSR, whoever the fuck it was, right? They all, when they ended, nearly all of them ended with the system going to shit for a long time. They fucked things up. People fucking died. Lots of violence, lots of horror going on. And then, a period of instability. You see this with the going back to the fucking pharaohs. You have the old kingdom, and then you have this period of just hundreds of years of nonsense going on where people are arguing on who's the pharaoh, and I'm the pharaoh, no, you're the pharaoh. And then you have the middle kingdom. And you have this period of stability for a long time until one of them goes fucking mad and decides to start killing everyone left, right, and centre. And then it all falls into this kind of anarchy again for the next X many years. Now, things have been accelerated because of the way that societies work now. So hopefully the American instability that leads on from the American Insurrection Act of Donald Trump, which I think is coming very soon, hopefully it won't last too long. But while it does, we need to make ways of cutting America out of our life, making sure that America can't fuck us over. At the moment, I'm particularly vulnerable because America own this platform. Not the government, obviously, but this is an American platform. So if America goes full fash, which is looking very likely, we might have to find another platform to go on. And that will disrupt my income. And I might have to get a proper job, as we call it. Not in an American coffee chain though, because fuck that shit. So yes, there's some more stuff that I want to say, but first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to Alice Durham, who has once again gifted. Oh, hang on, that's a super chat button. Sorry. Welcome, new members. He has gifted 5 Politics Social memberships. So now Kate Smith has been gifted a membership for a month. So has Mike Richards and Matt Parker and Gavin Trampoline and Stevie H. have all been gifted a membership for 1 month. So now, if any of you want to write something, you will get a little a rose after your name in the chat. And I'll do it today because there's no PMQs. I didn't mention yesterday. I think there's PMQs tomorrow, and then they're off for Easter. They're actually off for Easter already. Lazy bastards. There's no PMQs today, so don't worry about that. Rockstar up by you, Graham. Yeah, I know. DMA Design, mate. I was there for Lemmings. Baby. That's how old I am. And GTA 1, and GTA 2, and GTA London edition. God, I remember, right, here's how old I am. I remember renting out GTA London from Blockbuster. Yeah! I'm like fucking Methuselah, man! There are mountains that are younger than me. Yeah! I work in geological time now. Bring it! So old. Anyway, so back to the nightmare. Sorry. Got a bit excited there. So, what are we going to see? We're going to see mass arrests of opposition figures, as I've mentioned, statewide crackdowns in blue cities and border states, militia integration into law enforcement. I can see the Proud Boys and all those motherfuckers being deputized, press censorship and targeted shutdown of media, social media and platforms, passport seizures, curfews, which have been in before. You know, there were sundown laws all over America where if you were black, you had to get home before it got dark. No after-school clubs for you, little black boy. You live in America in the 1950s. And then you've got checkpoints. And checkpoints already exist in America to check for agricultural products being brought over state lines. So they're just going to up them. And internal surveillance. Cleverly, they have put thousands of Tesla cars all over the roads in America, all of which are packed to the gills with surveillance equipment. So they can just film it. They film in front of them. As you're crossing the road in front of a Tesla, that Tesla is filming you. And they can use facial recognition to go, oh, that's you. That's where you are. They can hunt you down, and they will hunt you down. Wear a mask, God damn it. This is why all the fash in the pandemic were told to tell their dickhead followers, their fucking inbred, brain-dead, smooth-brained idiots who follow them, to rip the masks off people. Do you remember people freaking out about people wearing masks? How dare you? Get that mask off your face. It was so that they could continue surveilling everyone and knowing where everyone was, because that's what the deep state wanted. And these stupid little pawns, these stupid little 3.3 million people, a huge chunk of whom are going to not be with us by the end of the decade, I predict. They all went, yep, this is great. Take your mask off. Don't get vaccinated. Why do they not want to get vaccinated? Well, the thing is that most people who don't get vaccinated against a deadly disease will not actually die of the deadly disease. But the people they will kill as a result of them not being vaccinated and passing on that deadly disease, something they couldn't do if they were vaccinated, is much higher. And what America wants to do, like what all dictatorships around the world want to do, ever since Hitler killed all the disabled people, and Idi Amin drowned disabled people. They drove them from the capital to Lake Victoria, and they drowned them in the lake. This is what they want to do in America. So telling people not to get vaccinated, it's not going to fuck over most of the people who don't get vaccinated. Well, one or two, you'll lose a few kids here and there, but it's a sacrifice they're willing to make, offer up their child to the fucking gods of fascism. The people who are going to be really affected are disabled people, are people who are already have health problems, and because these people are fucking mad eugenicists, they want to get rid of people they see as invalid. See what they've done there? These people are absolute fucking scum running America at the moment, and I will take great delight in the demise of every fucking last one of them. The problem is we're going to have to watch from the sidelines, because genuinely there's not much we can do for the next few months about what's happening in America. Until the resistance forms, until the rebels take a stand, until California breaks away from the rest of the USA and tells the rest of America to fuck the fuck off, as does New York and maybe the New England states and a few other places, right? Canada will come in on the side of Washington, Oregon, and California and the New England states. I can see that happening. I can see us going in on the side of Canada and offering technical support, whatever support we can, to get rid of the fash from the White House. It's going to be the War of 1812 all over again, and might end up with the White House getting burnt down again. Wouldn't that be a thing? I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but nothing. No, there's not much I can do apart from point out what it looks like is very likely. So we've got passport seizures, we've got frozen elections, and infinite delays to democracy. They won't scrap elections as such. They will just postpone them, put them off for a bit until they've absolutely made sure that the voter suppression that they've put in place is going to be 100% cast iron, and that their man, their woman, is going to win that particular election. And then you go, international trust in the US is going to be absolutely obliterated. It's at an all-time low now, but it will be absolutely obliterated. NATO will be compromised. Global instability will be guaranteed. And in times of global instability, who are the people who lose out the most? It is the people at the bottom rung of the social ladder, of the socioeconomic ladder. They are the people who are going to lose out the most, because when the prices of groceries goes up, it affects them much more than Nigel fucking Farage and Richard Tice and Andrew Wigmore and that fucking gobshite Aaron Banks who looks like a little toad-like creature from a fucking Studio Ghibli film. Little toad guy. Fucking arseholes. Anyway, they're all millionaires. They all went to private school. Of course they did. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit at all about us, about people. All they care about is feathering their own fucking nests. Chris H, thank you very much. In the age of information, there is no excuse. Well, indeed. I worry about Wikipedia. I really do. I worry about Wikipedia. I hope someone's backing it up. Like now. And then we've got, the stock markets. The UK stock markets are down again today. So I'm just trying to see if I can find the latest stock market figures. The BBC aren't just showing them nicely. Oh God, what the fuck? Why isn't there just a thing that just? Okay, here we go. We've got Yahoo Finance. So the FTSE currently is down 2.94%. The pound has rose against the dollar by 0.4%. The FTSE 250 is down 2.3%. So that's all down. In the US, futures are all down. S&P 500's down 1.5%. Crude oil's gone down as well, which isn't great. Gold futures has gone up. People run to gold when they see times of economic uncertainty. In Europe, we're seeing the DAX is down 3.2%. We're seeing the Euronext 100 is down 3.15%. And the CAC 40 is down 2.9%. That's in France. Thank you very much to Alistair for the £10 super chat. Question: what red flag event do you think Trump will use to delay the midterms in the USA, Graham, protests or other things? Genuinely, it's going to be, he'll put, what I would do if I was Trump, okay? And I'm not, thank fuck. But if I wanted to have an excuse for putting in the Insurrection Act, which allows me to put my own militias in place, it allows me to put the military on the streets, it allows me to arrest people who are dissenters, anyone who doesn't agree with me, so opposition figures, Liz Cheney, etc. And also it allows me to postpone elections indefinitely. I would put members of the Proud Boys, members of these militia groups that are already very, very loyal to Trump, these terrorists that Trump let out of jail, even though they tortured police officers, tasered police officers. Their actions led to the deaths of police officers. But Trump let 1,500 of these terrorists out 3 months ago with this express purpose. Put them in the crowds of people, and then they will kill people, they'll blow themselves up or whatever Trump tells them to do. Because make no mistake, this is the biggest and most dangerous cult the world has ever seen. And they will go Jonestown on America. And Jonestown, don't forget, when Reverend Jim Jones told them all to drink the poison Kool-Aid, it wasn't just the people who were willing to do that who did it. The people who weren't willing were pinned down to the ground and forced by the others to drink the Kool-Aid. And that's what's going to happen in America, just on a much, much larger level. This is a suicide cult that are trying to bring on the end of the world because they think that Jesus is going to come down and forgive them all of, fucking their sisters or whatever the horrible things that these nasty little fuckers do in America. These people who pretend to be Christians. I mean, fuck me, I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist. I mean, gotta say, it's not a good advert, is it? It's not a good advert for Christianity. What do we see time and time again with Christianity? We see priests who rape children, and we see like these people in America going, "I'm a Christian," and going and shooting their neighbor dead in the head because Jesus told them to do it. Like, what the fuck? It's not a good advert. You see these televangelists who are making like thousands and thousands of dollars every day with their clergy, clergy with their congregations, the poor people from the south of America, not educated, and they take every fucking penny from these poor fuckers. You look at the Church of Mormon, just like, what? The Latter-day Saints. Stephanie, thank you so much, Stephanie Jeffries. That is really kind of you. Have a good day, all. Oh, thank you. You have a good day as well, Stephanie. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I want everyone else to have a good day in the chat. My mum's in the chat saying, "Good morning, everyone." Hi, Mum. How you doing? Leanne Scott is there. Very true. We only get the vote late and bank accounts women dominated. Yes, that's very true. In the 1970s, women weren't allowed to get a mortgage. It wasn't until the early 90s that rape in marriage was actually made a crime. Until then, it was perfectly legal to do that. So fucked. So utterly messed up. Let's talk about the UK. Yeah, so the UK stock markets, I was just saying, they're down again today. Our economy is not insulated against what happens in the US. Supply chains for goods and food are going to be disrupted because of these tariffs. A right-wing authoritarian superpower across the Atlantic poses an existential threat to liberal democracy globally. So, for instance, China's got a lot of pigs, right? It's got 65 million pigs. Great. It's got more pigs than there are people in the UK, I think. But they need feeding, and they feed them soybeans, and those soybeans are grown mostly in America. Now, those soybeans are going to be hit by a tariff because China have put a 34% tariff on stuff coming in from America. And so making food, making bacon and ham and making gammon, ironically, is going to get more expensive in China as a result of that. That's just one example. This is one example of why food prices in China will go up as a result of these tariffs. Even though you go, but they're Chinese pigs. Yeah, but what do the Chinese pigs eat? American soy. Veg Pie, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Is a universal theme park in Bedford a good idea? Yes. Sorry. Gonna just go against everything I just said. It's not gonna open for 6 years. This will all be over by then. I'm gonna boycott it till it opens. Come on. I like theme parks. Well, the more the merrier. Look, think about it this way, right? Alton Towers, when it's really busy, is a fucking nightmare. You can't get on anything, right? You got to queue. You spend half the day in a queue. If there were more theme parks, the people would be spread out. People who like theme parks would be more spread out between, Flamingo Land, Thorpe, Chesterton Wells Adventure, Alton Towers and stuff. If there's another theme park, great. I'll bring it up. And it also make a load of jobs for, teenagers to look bored and pull a lever while chewing gum. Look, it's investment. It's investment coming from another country into the UK. As far as I'm concerned, bring it on. Bring it on that investment. Back to America though, and the frozen elections. Supply chains for foods and goods and food. A right-wing authoritarian superpower across the Atlantic poses an existential threat to liberal democracy globally, and absolutely does. NATO unity is at risk, as I've said, and the UK is still angling for a free trade deal with a literal aspiring dictator. I think to say aspiring is a bit kind to him. He is a dictator already, in all but name. I think maybe by the end of this month, he might be. By after April 20th, I think that's the date that he's going to bring in this Insurrection Act. Right, so what can we do? as squishy little British people. Well, first of all, we can speak up. We can educate our friends and family about what's going on in the States, share clips, explain the playbook, inoculate people against propaganda. The last thing we need is people watching what's happening in America right now and going, oh, we need that here. What we need is people watching what's happening in America and also over here saying, fuck no. And here's the important thing, right? In the 1930s, people in this country saw what was happening in Nazi Germany. They saw the mass deportations. They saw these camps opening up to put the undesirables in, which included trans people, gay people, socialists, Jews, gypsies, Roma people. They saw this all happening, right? And then, although the death camps didn't happen until the 40s, in the 1930s, these things were being put in place. The Kristallnacht, where Jewish shops were attacked by mobs of the militia, the state-sanctioned militia groups, destroying Jewish shops and setting them on fire and burning people inside. You also had the Night of Long Knives, which happened not long after Hitler ascended to power, where he took out all the people who helped him get into power. Anyone who could be a threat to him. And that's Trump's Achilles heel, right? I'll go back to what I was saying in a moment, but I just want to say his Achilles heel is the Achilles heel of all dictators. And this goes for Putin, Idi Amin, General Pinochet, or whatever. They'll take out anyone who they see as a threat to them. And by doing that, once they fall, there's no one else to take over. J.D. Vance is not going to take over from Trump. I'll tell you that now. People say, oh yeah, but he'll become the president. Yes, he will. But he'll just be president in name. He will have no power whatsoever, because no one respects him. No one will give him the time of day. He does not command the cult that you need in order to make these things happen that Trump is making happen in America right now. Trump is the head of a cult. Like, you need to look into the eyes of a Trump voting American. They are fucking mad to a man. Like, they are fucking insane. You can see it in their eyes. There is something that has just popped in their brain and they can't go back. They are addicted to Trump. They are as addicted to Trump as a junkie is addicted to heroin, as an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol. And to break that addiction, to break that bond, is nigh on impossible. Nigh on impossible. It will take a lot. It will take a lot. And I don't think it's really going to happen until Trump cocks it. And there's no one else to replace that bond that they have made with this man who wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. But yes, but back to the UK. So in the 1930s, we saw Kristallnacht. We saw the Night of the Long Knives. We saw what the Nazis were doing. And there was a lot of people, mostly rich, privately educated people, like Oswald Mosley, who were saying, oh yeah, we need some of that over here. And they were trying to get working class people on side. They were very, very unsuccessful. The Battle of Cable Street, when Mosley came to Liverpool, famously, he had bricks thrown at him on Queen's Drive, just by where the flyover is now. You know where the flyover is on Queen's Drive, going up to Walton on the hill. Yeah, that's where he had a brick thrown his hand. Not far from Allsop School. And it wasn't until the war actually started that people started going, oh shit, these Nazis are really bad. Okay. So what we need to do now in the age of disinformation is make sure that people have the information that these people in America are bad, and we don't want this in the UK. Trump's power grabs, Trump's tyranny should be used as a tool, as a weapon to fight back against the likes of Farage and Banks and Wigmore and Tice and all those privately educated gobshites who try and be like these Pied Pipers of fuck to the working class and go, oh, you should listen to me. I'm rich. I'll make you rich too. Oh, Mr. Rich Man, tell me how to become rich. Oh, you have to work really hard. You never worked hard. You never worked a day in your life. Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, you were born fucking rich. You hadn't done anything. You made some fucking phone calls. You wrote a fucking email. We all do that. You never worked. You never done anything. Never achieved anything. You just played with daddy's money. Played with daddy's toys all your fucking life. And we need to make that very clear to people in this country. And anyone else who's watching from any other country, you need to make it clear in your country as well to everyone who you speak to, everyone who's in your friendship group, people at work, wherever. You need to make it very, very clear. We need to also demand the UK government distance itself from Trump. publicly condemn authoritarianism and support transatlantic democratic solidarity. I think that's going to come. It's not like Starmer, attended the inauguration of Trump or even tried to, unlike Liz Truss and Nigel Farage and those fuckwits. Labour aren't marching in lockstep with the Nazis in America right now. So, we're already a bit of the way there, but we need to keep pushing that and writing to our MPs saying, I'm really, really concerned about this encroaching authoritarianism and what it will mean to me and my family and my loved ones, my friends. We need to support independent media. So bylines, algorithms won't save us. Promote content that calls this shit out. Okay, bylines is fantastic. Obviously, you've got some really, really good talking heads in the media, on social media as well. People have their own YouTube channels who are promoting the truth. Or at least, the truth as we understand it. And you know what? We're not infallible and we get things wrong from time to time. That's fine. But you're here, interactive at the time that I'm saying this, and you can correct us and you can tell us, where we're going wrong or why this won't happen or whatever. You have a chance to actually have a two-way dialogue. This isn't me just making a fucking impassioned speech and everyone having to go home and believe everything I say. I'd rather you don't. I'd rather you thought critically about everything that you see and hear on the internet. Even from people that you like. We need to monitor UK for far-right copycasts. Watch for those echoing Trump's tactics in British politics, like Nigel Farage, talk of tariffs, anti-media narratives, populist grievance mongering, turning people against minorities, trans people, turning people like trans people, like gay people, like minorities, ethnic groups, different religions, immigrants coming over. Obviously, these are the people who get demonized first. And get ready to mobilize. Trump makes his move. We have ripple effects here. We need voices, loud, informed, and fearless. Let's just keep going. Because if we don't fight for our future, there's going to be no future left to fight for. Simple as that. John Hopkins, thank you very much, and thank you for your universities. I bet Tim Apple wants a refund on the $1 million he personally donated to Trump, given the massive drop in Apple's share price. Yeah, but that was worth it, because if he hadn't done that, then Apple would be worth zero today, because Trump would have ordered Elon Musk to take it over in an executive order. He would have said, "Oh, you're guilty of." What do they call it? Over antitrust laws, like monopolies and mergers we had in the UK. Antitrust laws. You're too big. I'm going to take all these Apple products off you, and I'm going to split them amongst my real friends. And Alistair says, thanks for the support to John. Yes, thank you. Really, really appreciate that. Nick in Diff says, they played during work breaks while the men were at work and got it. The FA banned them. I saw a story about it last year. Shocked by FA, but unsurprising. Well, the FA is linked with FIFA, who are just the most corrupt organisation in the fucking world. The global football mafia. Philip says, do you still have World War II crater stroke ruins there in the US? I get grounded visiting Civil War battlefield, Gettysburg, Antietam. Yeah, Philip, we do. I mean, over in Normandy, you can still go to the beaches where the Normandy landings happened. There's still evidence. There's the massive graves in places like Arnhem, over in France and Belgium, Menham Gate. There's these massive cemeteries. There's places you can go, and actually the trenches have been preserved, so you can see what it was like for the Tommies in the trenches at that time. It's horrific. It's horrific. You can visit the crater left by the biggest conventional bomb that was ever set off. It's like an anti-hill. Imagine like a hill, but instead of it being convex, it's concave, right? It just goes into the ground like a really long way. And that was set up by, I think, British Secret Service. They tunneled under German lines and just packed it full of explosives and just set it. I mean, yeah. So yeah, there are places in Europe to visit. When it comes to the English Civil War, there's not much left. I mean, we got a sign saying, near me here in Durham, there was the Battle of Neville's Cross. That was in the 1300s. It was between the Scots and the English, I think. And all that's left is a sign that says, this is the site of an ancient battle. So it's not quite the same. as some of the places like Gettysburg, where the Civil War battles took place. Yeah, I mean that history is still alive. Unfortunately, people take the wrong messages from these from learning this history. They think of battles as some glorious, great things where men strode in and they were all fearless and the men were real men. They weren't. Half of them were scared shitless. Half of them fucking tried to run back and were shot by their own side. People didn't just die of being shot in the head. They fucking got shot in the leg and then they died slowly from fucking gangrene. People died of starvation. People died of disease. People died from other fucking things other than bullets and stepping on a fucking landmine or getting themselves entangled in the barbed wire. It was a horrific, short, nasty, brutish life for people who, these young men who were thrown into the machine, being ground up by bullets and machinery. Same as what's happening right now in Europe, in Ukraine. We are being invaded by Eastern barbarians. We're being invaded by the Russians, who have never had a civilization in the entire time that Russia has existed. It's never been a civilized place. It's always been a vicious, evil, fucking psychopathic place where people, someone might just fucking kill you because they don't like the look of you and they'll get away with it because it's a psychotic place full of fucking psychopaths. Possibly not the Russians' fault. And I hate to blame an entire country on the actions of the government. But if we're going to talk genetics, the only people who survived in Russia all these years, after all the horrible things that happened in Russia over the years, the only people who managed to survive were the psychopaths. The fucking nutters were the people who were prepared to rat on their neighbour, get them sent off to Siberia to die with their family. While you sit pretty. So, devious, two-faced motherfuckers. Most of the people in Russia. And they pretend to be European. They can fuck off. They don't hold any ideals that are European. Europe isn't a geographical thing. It's very hard to plot out on a map. Where does the eastern border of Europe lie? Does it lie in the Ural Mountains? Why? The Ural Mountains aren't even fucking mountains. They're more like fucking hills. Who gives a shit? It's not a separation of a continent. Europe is an idea. Europe is a mindset. And Russia has never been part of that mindset. When they ran Eastern Europe, they didn't run it as a democracy. They ran it as a dictatorship, a place where the Stasi ran around arresting people for thinking the wrong thing, for having a typewriter hidden in the fucking under the floorboards. These people were fucking, they're not good for Europe. They never were. They never will be. They're not European. And when they call themselves European, I just go, no, I don't care. I don't care if you call me a Russophobe or whatever. Don't give a shit. I think someone needs to tell them. I think someone needs to stand up to them and say, no, this is fucking wrong. And if you want to be European, they've wanted for 500 years, since the days of fucking Peter the Great. Peter the Great went on a grand tour of Europe and just went around butchering and murdering everywhere he went, causing absolute fucking carnage, that crazy motherfucker, Peter the Great. Spent 2 years travelling around Europe, got back, and he found that the Duma, the parliament of Russia, had turned against him, so he murdered every one of them. Literally murdered all of them. He kept them all in cages in the basement of a building in Moscow or St. Petersburg, one of the two. And he'll get up in the morning and murder one of them brutally. He had different ways of murdering them because he was a fucking psychopath. This was a guy who cut out his wife's lover's heart, put it in a jar and put it on the mantelpiece because he was a fucking psychopath. And Russia's not really changed much since. He was the guy who wanted Russia to have what he called a window on the West. They wanted Russia to be more European. So he went around with his little notebook, jotting down things. I mean, the guy was a genius. He was a psychopath. He was a genius. He was a psychopath. Piece of the Great. And he is the foundation of modern Russia. They want what they can steal from Europe, our ideas, our IP, but they don't want to be European. They don't want to have things like rule of law and democracy and freedom of speech and freedom of the press. They don't want that, and they want to try and take that away from the rest of us. They can fuck off. We're going to have to stand up against them. We're going to have to stand up against Russia, the only country not to have tariffs put on it. Why was it not? Why does Russia not have tariffs on it? Oh, we're doing peace negotiations. You'll be doing that with Ukraine, aren't you? And they're involved in peace negotiations at the moment, aren't they? Aren't they? People, okay. Yeah, but we've got sanctions against Russia, so we don't need to. You've got sanctions against Iran. They still got tariffs. Yeah, but they're at war at the moment. I mean, they're distracted by the thing that they've got to do. They've got to kill all these people in another country for no reason. Yep, that's exactly what Israel's doing. You put tariffs on Israel as well. Almost as though they're doing exactly what Russia has told them to do. Because Russia will be absolutely made up for the world to lose America as a shining beacon of democracy and human rights. It'll just be a slimy cesspool of dictatorship and human wrongs. So yeah, Get ready to mobilize. When Trump makes his move, it will have ripple effects here. We need voices who are loud, informed, and fearless. We need to do this. This is absolutely 100% our mission over the next, I was going to say few years, but it's the next few fucking weeks, the way things are going. What do you think? Do you think Trump could really get away with martial law? Do you see the signs of false flag operations being seeded? Do you think the UK is at risk of its own authoritarian downfall? And, what do you think is the best way to push back online and offline? You don't declare martial law unless you want to end democracy. So, he says he's protecting America. He's fucking taking it hostage. But, let me know what you think. I'm just going to head over to the papers. I know I've gone over time. I always do. Sorry, there's lots to say. There's lots going on. And also, we're not doing a PMQs this week. Normally after PMQs, I usually yak on for another half an hour. As we're not doing that today, I may as well stick around for a bit. We've only got 7 out of 10 of our goal to get 10 super chats. So maybe I'll stick around for a bit. Maybe I'll be incentivized to stick around. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for you to write what you think about all this, I'm going to jump into the morning papers. I hope. Yay. Streeting backs prostate tests. Health Secretary hails males campaign for national screening, which is good. I probably should get the screen for that. I'm in my mid-40s. Harry's shock arrival in London courtroom as Meghan reveals health bombshell in new podcast. Okay. And this, apparently, according to the Times, though, it's a latest vapid podcast. Ooh, we don't like Meghan. We don't like Meghan. Do you know what? Join and like. Sorry, I left them on. I'll turn them off now. Do you know what? I fucking love Meghan. I love her. I love her like a man can love a woman from a distance without it being romantically attached in any way, shape, or form. Do you know why I love her? Because they hate her. Because the people that I hate her so much. And that's like, oh, queen. Sorry. She's my queen. Fuck the actual queen. She's got a face like a bag of mangled arses. Like, yeah, she's my queen. Do you know why? Because the Murdoch press fucking hate her. The Express, the Mail, the Telegraph, they all fucking hate Meghan. All these little mealy-mouthed little motherfuckers who read the fucking Sun newspaper. Oh, immigrants are coming over. Oh, trans people are coming to steal my balls. Love her. Absolutely love her. I don't give a fuck what she does. I don't care. I won't watch a TV show or listen to a podcast. I've honestly got better things to do. But the fact that these sad little bastards have to sit down and listen to her vapid podcast so they can talk about it. Oh my God, is that a revenge best served cold? They've sat around and thought about this, which I absolutely love. She's just like, you know what? We've got all this money. We don't really need to do anything with our lives except have a good time. So let's have a good time by torturing the people who hate me. Well done, Meghan. Fucking keep it up. Keep it up. Keep the gam-gams fucking gammon. London drops down wealth list as super rich move out. Oh, God, more bullshit. Right, okay, so if the super rich move out, right, what you do is you say, okay, well, you're going to take your house with you, right? You're going to sell your house, right? You have to give up your passport. If you don't want to be British, then what do you need a British passport for? Why should you get the protection of British embassies abroad? You don't pay tax here. You don't live here. Fuck off. You're on your own. Good luck getting travel insurance. Knobheads. That's what I would do. Just saying. Trump ramps up trade war with Beijing. Yep. He's dumb as a sack of bricks. He's talking about, what's his name? Peter Navarro here on the right. And you've got Elon Musk on the left there. You can't see my pointer, which is annoying me, but never mind. So Peter Navarro, he's the guy who's come up with this tariff plan for Trump. And Elon Musk yesterday described him as being dumb as a sack of bricks, which is hilarious. Chinese soldiers caught fighting for Russia, reveals Zelensky, which isn't great. Also, Labour drops plans for local grooming gang inquiries. Look, we've already had the grooming gangs inquiries. We don't need another one. This is just something that the right-wing press have decided that we absolutely need when actually we've already done the stuff that we need to do and the government is acting on it. We don't need an inquiry. We need action. So, yeah, as long as there's action happening, awesome. David Hockney conquers Paris. There you go. From squabbles to odd smells, my worst house share moments. At the top of the Guardian there. US and China on collision course for all-out trade war as tariffs hit. It's a cool cover of the Guardian there. All options on the table to save British steel plant. This is important. I should have mentioned this at some point in the show, but it wasn't really the point of the whole show. But it does look like we're going to see a nationalisation of British steel. I know that Johnny Reynolds, the business secretary, is very across what's happening with steel in the UK, and he understands the importance of Britain being able to make its own steel. And as a result, we may see the renationalisation of British steel, which is something that I think the people and the unions will absolutely love. The industrialists will fucking hate it, but they can fuck off. Harry there, waving his hand. We've got dystopian tools aimed to predict murderers. Now, this is straight out of, so this is this story here. This is straight out of Minority Report. This is going to be using AI tools to predict who might be likely to murder someone. Do you know what? I think they're going about that the wrong way. I think they should be giving us the tools to suss out whether someone that we know is likely to murder someone, rather than have some AI do it. Because people don't spot the signs. People don't spot the red flags. We should all have a little toolkit of our own. Not an AI toolkit, but a real toolkit where we're told to look out for these certain signs of people where they might actually kill someone. Do they get into unstoppable rages? You know, that kind of thing. Bonkers council bans V-Day parade for being too elitist. I've used the word woke on the front cover of the Daily Express. You always know it's a slow news day when that happens. And there's a man and a woman who went to Greece on holiday. Right. The Mirror leads with the Universal deal to bring 28,000 jobs with the Universal Park in Bedfordshire. And then we've got another knife tragedy, a 16-year-old Syrian bomb victim who fled to Britain with dreams of becoming a doctor, only to be killed on our streets. A boy of 16 was stabbed to death after he'd fled from war-torn Syria, which is just horrific. And we really need to do more to tackle knife crime. And I'll tell you how you tackle knife crime is you legalise drugs. That's it. And you know, I'm not one for a panacea. I'm not one to say, yeah, universal basic healthcare can come along, universal basic income can come along and it will make everything awesome. I mean, universal basic healthcare, which you already have, that's not going to make everything awesome in our lives. But the reason why these gangs form is because they have the one surefire way to make loads of money while being really lazy at the same time. That is dealing drugs or buying property and becoming a landlord. They don't have the money to buy property and become a landlord, so it's drugs. To be clear, being a landlord is drug dealing for the middle class. Legalized drug dealing for the middle class. It is lazy. It is a shit way to make money, and you should feel bad. Sorry, I you know, drug dealers and landlords are the same to me. But I have a good landlord, says people. No, you don't. They're taking money off you. They should be paying you to stay in their house. End of. I'm not going to broker any discussion on this. I know I'm going to piss people off, but I don't care. Hey, Kate Smith, £2 super chat. Chinese soldiers were found in Ukraine. Yeah, that's a bit of a worry. But apparently that they weren't like, they were part of the People's Liberation Army of China, but they weren't actually there at the behest of the Chinese government. In the same way that British fighters and fighters from all over Europe and America and places like that have gone over to Ukraine to fight on the Ukrainian side against the Russians, but they don't represent the thingamabobby. They don't represent the country that they're from, because if they do, that makes the war a little bit more difficult. In the same way that, you know, Russia has been putting soldiers from North Africa, from North Korea, other places with North in the title, into combat roles from the Middle East, from Syria, putting them into combat roles in the east of Ukraine that they have invaded because they're twats. Jurassic Park, dire wolves extinct for 10,000 years are brought back to life. God, they're so cute. Aren't they cute? They're not quite dire wolves, but you know. Trump hits China with 104% tariffs in major trade war escalation. Sidelines, Harry in court as deep royal split revealed. Prince was singled out for worse protection after being forced out to see a royal appeals court is told. Dad Charles flies off to Italy without seeing son, even though he landed in Britain a whole day before. So, the family drama of this one fucking family, it's like a weird obsession, isn't it? Imagine if we were like obsessed with a family that lived on your street. Imagine it was a family who lived on your street and constantly you were like looking over the fence to see what they're doing. And then they'll do something and then you'd write it down and then you'd put it on the internet with photographs of them doing this thing. They've gone on holiday. They're gonna, oh, they just got double glazing fitted. Oh, I'm gonna have to write about this. Photos, put it online, put it in the newspapers, print it. But the family at the end of the road, everyone needs to know what this family at the end of the road is doing at all fucking times. People would think you were mad. People would actually be right, because that would be a mad thing to do, right? Right? It would be crazy. Like, honestly, I know you shouldn't use this expression, but the men in white coats will come along and take you away. Haha. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but like that would be a criminal act. Actually, that would be stalking, and that's what we do as a population. We stalk the royal family. Look at what they're doing now. Look at what they're doing. I need a photograph. Oh my God, they went on holiday. Quick, get me a photograph. I need to see this. Oh my God, the future queen took her top off on a balcony. Oh, I need to see that. We need to see that. Zoom in. We need to see that. What a weird thing. What a weird thing. Take a step back and just imagine how weird it would be if you did that to a family down the road from you. Just obsessed about them every day. It's all you talked about. You would see your neighbours at the bus stop. Oh, you know, see what they're doing at number 42. Oh, well, I don't think they're getting on, you know. They had an argument. I was listening. I had a cup against the wall. I was listening. They were shouting at each other. I don't know, something about the dishes. Oh, the dishes. Oh, fucking write this down. The dishes. Oh, love spat over dishes war. Quick, put it on the front cover of all the newspapers. Like, honestly. Seriously, it would be mad, wouldn't it? I can't be the only one who just thinks that this is actually an insane thing to do. There was a great article once, a few years ago. It was in one of the Irish newspapers, I think the Irish Times, and it was just about having a neighbour who was obsessed with, I think they gave the examples of like garden gnomes, and they just went on about garden gnomes all the time. That's what it's like living next to Britain with their royal family. They want everyone to love their garden gnomes. Like, look at my garden gnome, and it's like, I don't care. Don't give a fuck. Couldn't give a shit. Couldn't give a flying fuck. I don't care what the president of India does. I don't care what the president of Germany does. You know, the just honorific titles. They go around opening supermarkets. So what? I don't care. Anyway, sorry about this. We've got an advert. Piss off. Right, okay. Sorry for showing you that advert. Please wash your eyes out with soap and water. World upended. Martin Wolf on how tariffs make every nation poorer, which they do. Trump poised to ignite global trade war with steepest tariffs in a century. China will fight to the end. Door open to others. Talks hopes calm market. Business backlash. Well, indeed. And former Topshop owner Green fails in parliamentary privilege legal challenge. This is Philip Green, who's a gobshite, apparently. I think we all knew that. Anyway, so we are not all obsessed, says Mr. I know, Mr. TSK. Come on, I'm not saying everyone is absolutely obsessed. I'm just saying there is a large segment of the population who are just fucking obsessed with this one family. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And like, look, if all things being equal, right? If it was something that deserves a place on a front cover of a newspaper, you know, if they met with foreign dignitaries and there was a signing of something, you know, or some kind of apology, perhaps, for the dreadful things that Britain's done in the past, maybe a big bumper check of reparations that was being presented by the king. Yeah, fair enough. That's news. Yeah. Do you know what's not fucking news? These knobheads go to a gig. They go and see Taylor Swift. That's not news. They go to the Grand National. That's not fucking news. They go to the footy. That's not news. Like, seriously. Like, imagine going back to the fucking number 42. They went the footy. Quick. They went the footy, everyone. They went the footy. Quick, everyone needs to know. What do we need to know? Wake up. Banging on all the doors down the street. Wake up, everyone. What's happening? The guys at number 42. What happened? Is there a fire? Is there something happened? I mean, what's happened? No, they went the footy. Oh. You got me up in me 90. all the way down the stairs in my slippers, knocking on the door in the middle of winter. Now you let all this cold air in to let me know that the neighbours have gone the footy. Yeah, really important. I got loads of photos. Look at all the photos. I took of them at the footy. Look at all these photos. I took all these amazing Mate, it is fucking objectively insane. And you know it. You fucking know it. Anyway, right. Goddamn the landlords. Says Philip. Yeah, I'm not going to go down that route again. I know I get into lots of trouble. Rome, not Greece, says Mr. TSK 27. Oh dear. I made a historical faux pas. It was the Romans, not the Greeks. How many times do we say that though in life? Every day, once a day, I say, "Oh, that was the Romans, not the Greeks." It was really small on my screen. Like the text was really small. In my defense, Cathal saying having a monarchy next door is like having a neighbor who's really into clowns. Oh, that was it. It wasn't garden gnomes. It was clowns. Thank you, Cathal. And has daubed the house with clown murals. That was Harry and Meghan, the Union, two great houses. Patrick Frayne. Yeah, well worth reading that. Clowns. Obsessed, because that's even better, like clowns, because like clowns freak out. And the joke at the end of that is like, but the thing is like clowns killed your family. And you're like, yeah, okay, yeah. Ooh. Where's Kate's photo today? I don't know. Bread and sex has nothing to do. The Windsors are more dysfunctional than the Skywalkers. Indeed. Richie Goss, Graham, totally agree with that. We should be paid by the landlords. We pay council tax after all. Exactly. Landlords should pay you to look after their property. That's what you're doing. You're looking after their property. It's a job. It's a job to live in someone else's house. If you don't live there, their house will be derelict. Their house will be squatted. Their house will burn down. Their house will be full of mold. No one will be there to open the fucking windows, you know. No one will be there to check the leaky fucking pipes. No one will be there to, you know, report if the toilet it gets fucking explodes or it's stolen. Like, there's no one there, right? You're just opening. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put metal in all the windows. Are you to stop people getting in? What are the people who own the other houses on the street going to think of that, eh? They're going to be like, hang on, you're bringing down my house price by putting metal in the windows to stop squatters coming in. You need to take that metal off the windows and you need to put someone in that house so they can protect it for you, a custodian of that house, like we have custodians of libraries and museums, etc. Night watchman, woman, whatever. Night watch person, I should say. What are you begging? The genetics company Colossal claims to have brought back the direwolf in their de-extinction projects. Unfortunately, they use faulty research if their claims are true. Have created a new species. Well, they've made a big wolf. They've made a big wolf. But that's fine, you know. We made chihuahuas. Let's make a big fucking wolf. They've made some ridiculous looking dogs. That's all genetic modification, darling. It's just the slow way of doing it. Graham, the timer has ended on the goal. Oh, I see what happens. Okay, I didn't realize that. So we were trying to get it in half an hour, up to 10. Okay, never mind. I should put it on for an hour then, shouldn't I, till the end of the show? So we've got to the end of the show to get it up to 10 super chats, which I think we've got to anyway, because other people gave after it ran out of time. Let's have a look. Did anyone say anything about what we need to do about false flags? Let's have a look. God, there's a load of stuff here. I was in the Navy. Do you think they will thank you, sir? Do you think they will thank you when they die in the war you taught them was glorious? Paraphrasing a line from Doctor Who I sometimes think about. Yeah. Captain Coconut, in true British Civil War honesty, a minor kerfuffle happened here a while ago, but now it's a Mackey's. Yeah, true. Leanne says, my man who was in the Navy, he was on a frigate to Archangel, scrap iron flotilla, they call them. My granddad was in the Navy as well. 6 years, all 6 years of the war. 39 to 45, he was in the Navy. We laughed at fascists and kicked their heads in when they marched in Cable Street. The UK government knew about the camps but still refused to take Jewish refugees. Check Hansard at the time. Says Purity Vendetta. Yeah, people in this country, like the likes of which went to private school and owned lots of land and had lots of power, lots of money, lots of riches that they didn't deserve, lots of free gifts from people, because when you're rich, you get free stuff for some reason. You get into everything for free when you're rich. When you're poor, you don't get anywhere for free. You never get put on a guest list. You never get a +1. But when you're rich, all these doors are open to you. You get free clothes. You get free shoes. They throw shoes at you. Not in a kind of like journalist throwing shoes at George W. Bush kind of way, but in like they give you shoes and say, "Will you please wear our shoes?" Famous rich person, and that person's like, "Okay, cool." And then they go out to the free screening of a film in Leicester Square wearing those shoes, and the people who made the shoes are like, "Great, they're wearing our shoes. Woohoo!" They're not wearing anything else, and probably might get arrested for that, but at least they're wearing our shoes. Purity. When I was living in Germany, I let a couple of student mates live in the house rent-free. They could study and not worry about rent. And I got the house looked after. Yeah. I mean, they should pay the bills. They should pay for the electricity they use. But they can use the money they get off the landlord for looking after the place to pay for the electricity and the council tax, etc. So dire wolves and more like massive jackals, not wolves. But I like wolves. Wolves are fluffy. I love wolves. Don't like jackals. A bit scary. Morning, Graham, in sunny Birmingham today. Right, see you later. Back to work. Thanks very much, Garrity. Not sunny here in Durham. It's a bit overcast. Star Wars fans are obsessed with one family, Graham. Yes, Acro Dave. Yes, they are. I was hoping that the 8th one was going to go in a different direction at the end. Well, the 9th one was going to go in a different direction because of the 8th one. If I'm talking about Star Wars for just 1 minute, because it seemed to be setting up to say that you can't put all your faith in one person who's going to come and save the day. Basically, the people who are the people of the galaxy were going to rise up. The stormtroopers are going to turn against the Empire. The people, the Force was around everyone. It wasn't just the Jedi who had access to it. It was sort of hinting towards this. Instead of it being a few rebels who took out the Emperor, took out the bad guys, it seemed to be setting up as like a mass rebellion of the peoples of the universe, all just at the same galaxy, so at the same time, all rebelling against their captors of the First Republic or whatever it was called. Like, oh, they're just so annoying. Like, it just negated everything that happened in Return of the Jedi. Like, it's like, yay, the Empire's over, it's finished. And then it's like, no, it's not. Only joking. If they bring back a mammoth, it won't be a real mammoth. It'll be a fucked up elephant. Ugh. I used to know a fucked up elephant. Jesus Christ. That was a difficult one to turn up at parties with. I mean, one thing, it's an elephant. Secondly, it was fucked up. You know, it enjoyed its crystal meth a little bit too much, if you know what I mean. The before and after pictures of my elephant friend were just, it was horrible to see. Gulf Marine, the ones that aren't coming around, some will have to muck around and start, but if elections survive, yeah. And then Purity is replying to Mosaic Owl. I'm not an anti-monarchist. I believe the French knew how to deal with the aristocracy. Yes, they did. And Priority says, my partner and I went to get our passport photos last night. As trans people, we need to get ready to leave at a moment's notice, given Labour doesn't deal with transphobes like Duffield and Streeting. Well, Duffield's out the party, isn't she? Wasn't she kicked out? Duffield's not Labour anymore. They got rid of her, I think. I'm going to just check. I'm going to just double check while I'm talking to you because I don't want to give you false information. But I agree that I'm sure she's independent now. Yeah, she sits as an independent as of September 2024. She's out the party. So 1 down, 1 or 2 to go. But yeah, Wes Streeting has not showered himself in glory by any stretch of the imagination over the last few months, especially with his seemingly his joining in on the whole war on trans people, which is a Trojan horse to fascism. I'm going to go after saying this, but trans people should have our love and our support, and they should have equal rights to everybody else to live as they want to live. And as long as they don't break the law, what's the problem? There is no problem. But the right, quite rightly, saw a schism in the left, and they knew that they could needle that and use that to cleave vast numbers of women, especially women, but men as well, mostly women, away from progressive causes, because they used transphobia as a prejudice that it was okay and justifiable to have. And so people like J.K. Rowling, who up to that point had been progressive, had their brains boiled by the transphobic propaganda that was given to her by the people on the right who knew exactly what they were doing. And that led to people who would otherwise shun bigotry on this level becoming bigger and bigger and bigger bigots, because transphobia is a gateway drug to bigotry. And so you have someone like J.K. Rowling, who has gone from just being a transphobe to being a misogynistic. Trying to think of a word. Let's say gobshite. Going from a transphobic gobshite to being this woman-hating, racist piece of shit who's having to go at asexual people now. You know, because those asexual people, God, how dare they? How dare they literally exist? And she's gone after athletes, all of whom have not been white. All of whom have not been white, and said they don't look feminine enough for her liking. The racism there, the post-imperialistic imperialism there, the air of, superiority. Oh, I'm sorry, this person from Africa does not look as womanly as I would like her to look. Got a message for you, J.K. Rowling. Look in a fucking mirror. You don't look feminine enough for me. I think you should be transvestigated. You look like a fucking man. You horrible fucking piece of shit. But then again, I think J.K. Rowling decided one day to hate herself. She looked in the mirror and she hated what she saw. And then she just extrapolated that hate onto the rest of the world. And it's sad. It's really, really sad. But make no mistake, transphobia is a gateway drug to bigotry. It's a gateway drug to Trump. You had fucking J.K. Rowling congratulating President Trump. Congratulating Donald fucking Judas fucking Trump. That's how far she has gone. That's how far she's gone. Because of this. She started on the soft drugs, the soft prejudice, the easy ones. It's all the fault. It's all the fault of the trans people. In the same way, other people on the left can be cleaved off from everybody else by indulging in a bit of anti-Semitism. We saw that. There's still people, probably someone in the chat now will go, it was a hoax! Yeah. I'll tell you what wasn't a hoax. 2 of my MPs in Liverpool, who I knew personally, resigned from the Labour Party. Louise Ellman, after fucking 40 years of being an elected representative of the Labour Party, resigned because of the anti-Semitism they were being inundated with day in, day out, while the leadership did fuck all about it. And yet, to this day, you have people going, no, it wasn't real, it wasn't real, it wasn't real. Gateway drug, mate. Great gateway drug to bigotry and prejudice and Donald fucking Trump. So yeah, call it out. When you see someone being anti-Semitic or Islamophobic or transphobic or homophobic in any way, call it out, because you need to nip that shit in the bud, because that is a poison that spreads through people's arteries and turns those arteries black with bile and hatred for everyone. Not just the particular minority that they thought that it was okay to pick on to start with. Imagine being the richest woman in the world. The richest author in the world. And just spending all your time on Twitter, 8 hours a day on Twitter, slagging off minorities, bullying minorities. Wow. What a time. What a time to be alive. Women are understandably prickly about the hard-won rights once the majority realise that the same people who argued against trans rights are against all women's rights. We should be able to unite. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the way the right framed it, wasn't it? They said it was okay to be a transphobe because you're actually being a feminist. And it's more important that you're a feminist than it is to not be a bigot against trans people, because they're taking away your right, your hard-won rights that suffragettes had to die for. And the women who have come before that have made it so women can get bank accounts and mortgages and have their own credit card, heaven forfend. The women who fought for those freedoms, that you're going to have those freedoms taken away if a trans woman pisses in the cubicle next to you. if a trans woman has to queue up for 30 minutes to use the toilet like the rest of the women in a stadium designed by a man who made sure that the footprint of the men's toilets was the same size as the women's toilets, even though that means that men can get 100 men through that same toilet in about 5-10 minutes, whereas women, it takes about an hour to get the same number of people through those toilets. Architectural sexism. Gotta love it. But if you are going to wait in the queue for half an hour, maybe that's the problem. Maybe they're just like, I don't want trans women using the toilet because it means I have to wait longer to get to the bloody toilet. Maybe that's what they should say. Anyway, look, LU2D Game says, I've actually started to see a reversal in that for multiple bee species. Standard honeybees are still struggling, but gregarians are doing really well now. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. The bit about bees is good news. I'm terrified it's already too late to stop the little buzzies from dying out. I really, really hope not. Talk about bees. I love this. I love people having it in the chat, just having their own little conversation. But yeah, have a good one. Yeah, trouble with is riches come with power, real or perceived. I think we need to learn more about tyrannical power relationships, tyrannical power dynamics, you know. Well, we can talk about it. We can talk about it until the chaos comes home, but I'm going to leave you now. Maybe you could head over to James O'Brien. He's still got at least 2.5 hours of his show to go, I think. Just about. So until tonight, when I will be back at 6 o'clock with a special edition of The Rabbit Hole with me and Rachel Harris, well, we'll be talking about anything but politics, okay? Anything but politics. So if you want to talk about bees, we can talk about... If you want to talk about direwolves, we can talk about fucking direwolves, all right? Let's do it. 6 o'clock tonight. Fuck the politics. Let's just have fun, right? Yeah? You up for that? I'm up for that. Okay, cool. Look, thank you so much to everyone for the wonderful chat that's come in today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats, clearly. Like, honestly, we wouldn't be able to do this channel if it wasn't for your generous contributions to keeping us going. Unfortunately, we are not backed by the billionaires and the millionaires out there to get our message out. And as a result, we don't have the same kind of coverage as other bigger channels because they get the marketing budget. So yeah, but you really, really help this thing to keep going. And I hope that we can continue it going until the bitter end if necessary, but for as long as humanly possible. So I'll be back at 6 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching. One favor on the way out. Please give us a like on the way out. Go on, give us a like. Channeling my Uncle Yozza there. And until next time, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.